The Warriors have won 3 of their first 4 games with Butler in the lineup. The biggest difference, Golden State is scoring 6 more points per game since the trade while allowing 4 fewer as they push to avoid the play-in. They also have the easiest remaining schedule in the West. Make note of that. And over the weekend, Draymond spoke with confidence on the Warriors turning things up in the second half. Right.
I think we're going to win the championship.
Say that one more time so that everybody here can
say that with your chest.
I didn't hear you. My earpiece.
Because they added Jimmy Butler III. So what did you say?
81.
I'm sorry. I said I think we're going to win a championship, but I lied. We are going to win the championship.
Wow.
I'm telling you. Because I don't believe any of these teams are that great. Boston, yes, you got to go through Boston. You got to get through the champs. But we got to get through the West first. But none of these teams scare me.
All right. Dre not fearing any of those teams. Obviously, they added Jimmy Butler. He didn't say it with confidence totally at first until the guys really pushed him, and then he did. But Shannon, I'll ask you this. Is Golden State more likely to be a disappointment or to go on a deep run in the playoffs this year?
Well, I didn't have a whole lot of expectation for them to begin with, so they can't be a disappointment, and I damn sure don't expect them to make a deep playoff run. Draymond said he doesn't fear any team in the West. UD, I ask you, who fears Golden State, even with Jimmy Butler? You think OKC is afraid of them? You think the Nuggets are afraid of them? The Lakers aren't afraid of them? I don't really think anybody that's above them are afraid of them because they don't have that look. People haven't been afraid of Golden State since that 7-foot guy left and went to Brooklyn. That was the last time someone was afraid of Golden State. Now, we know they won a championship since once he went away, but that was a long time ago. Clay was there playing at a better, Andrew Wiggins had the season of seasons. I understand what Jimmy Butler is, but I don't think they're going to make a deep playoff run because I don't think anybody in the West fears them, and I would not have them pick if they were to somehow, we're speaking hypothetical, I don't think they can beat Cleveland in a 7-game series. I don't believe they can beat Boston, and I'm not so sure they can beat Stephen A's Knicks, but I know who could beat the Knicks in a 7-game series. Don't we, Stephen A? Don't we, Stephen A?
I don't know.
We already done beat them.
I don't know what you're talking about. Regular season, that don't count, please. Go ahead, UD.
Nah, it don't count.
Man, Draymond's smart as hell and crazy as hell at the same damn time, man. I mean, I get it. You breathing life into that locker room. You breathing life into those guys. You the guy to put the battery in the back. You the guy that leads that locker room and keep those guys connected. So I understand that. But you got to be crazy as hell to think that Memphis, to think that OKC, to think that the Lakers, to think that all these teams above you just going to have a meltdown in this second half of the season with 26 left. We had the Nuggets. To think that all these teams in the second half of the season just going to have a meltdown. No, this is when everybody getting primed for the playoffs. This is when everybody about to pick it up, and it's going to get even harder. Now, I understand that you guys have the easiest record in the West going down the stretch, but right now, everybody turning it on and sharpening their swords and get ready for the playoffs. So ain't nobody finna just let y'all come from 10th spot, move up to a 6, 7, or 8 speed, 6, 7 seed, and then go from there. And once again, if you're in that playoff spot, you got to see OKC in the first round. You got to see Denver in the first round. You got to see Memphis in the first round. You got a better chance of wrestling an alligator than beating any of those teams in the 7-game series right now. You one mango season away at Golden State. Give yourself some time this summer, but you one mango season away.
Here's what I will say. I don't disagree with you, UD, Shay. I don't disagree with y'all at all. But I want to thank Draymond for making it very, very interesting. Because I do think that Golden State can climb a little bit. That's number one. I think they can make a run for the 6th seed and to avoid the play-in. That's number one. Number two, let's look at the other teams for a second, fellas, and let's recognize what they got to prove. OKC, you got bounced out by Dallas last year. Dallas, you just moved off from Luka. AD's already hurt. You got something to prove, and you playing with a lot of pressure because those people out there in Dallas are going crazy that Luka's gone. You got Memphis. We see how vastly improved they are from a year ago. Jaren Jackson, I'm a fan. Ja Morant is an absolute stud when he brings his A game. But will he? That's something that you got to ask yourself a question about. The Nuggets, Jokic is that dude. Jamal Murray has been playing out of his mind. But will that continue? I can rely on that. I can trust Denver more than I can trust anybody right now. The Rockets, still young, don't have a definitive number one to give the ball to and say, take us there when all else fails. Ime Udoka is one of the best coaches in the game, but I still think they're a piece away. All right, the Lakers, no size in their front line. Defense is compromised. What they going to do? Clippers, can we trust if Kawhi is going to be available, even though they've been winning games without him, and it's a testament to them for that. So there's a lot of questions within the Western Conference about what's around Golden State. And I think that even though Draymond is exhibiting bravado and having confidence and stuff like that, I think part of it is what he said is true. He's looking at those other teams, and just like there's question marks about Golden State, there's question marks about them. And he's saying, I got Steph Curry. Why can't I believe? I can understand it.
I was going to say, you remember the year they won the championship, and Draymond did a decent job on Jokic. He's not that Jokic anymore. He's cooking everybody. I'm talking about it does not matter. He's a different animal now than when Draymond, you got him a couple of years ago. You best believe that. So if you think you're going to go in there and you're going to play, I understand you're a phenomenal defensive player. You're always undersized against the guy you're going up against. And more times than not, you've held your own. But Jokic is a different animal now. He's a different animal. OKC, I don't believe, and like I said, Stephen A., he's talking about he doesn't fear anybody. I guarantee you, those teams that above him would rather play Golden State than one of those other seeds. I guarantee you OKC would rather see Golden State than see the Nuggets. The Nuggets would rather see the Warriors than see OKC or the Grizzlies. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. UD, let me ask you this, because obviously you're a repeat champion. You're part of Heat culture. You know what it is. You know what it takes. I just want to settle something between Stephen A. and Shannon, our fellow Lakers and New York Knicks fan. Which team do you fear most in the playoffs, LA or New York?
Unc, I'm sorry. I got to go with the Knicks. I got to go with the Knicks right now. I mean, right now, listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. What they have done offensively has been historical. They've gotten away from who they are, and they've played some offense. But what I will say is, when Mitchell Robinson comes back, you look at what Cat did last year next to a true five-man. They had the number one defense in the league. You put him against a true five-man, that gives them more defensive versatility. They already got Josh Hart. They already went out and got other guys that can defend on the perimeter. In my opinion, having wing defense and versatility and length helps you tremendously in the playoffs. So bring back Mitchell Robinson. You put him at the 4, and you got another lineup that you can play with, and that just gives them more versatility. Offensively, they're going to score the ball at a high rate. Cat can go by any big. He can flare and shoot the 3 by any big. You put a small guy on him, he going to post him up, and he going to beat him up in the paint. So, yeah, I'm going with the Knicks on that one. This is just basketball facts right here.
We did a number on them and didn't have no big. Do you remember what we did? We went there and LeBron mistripped Dub. Mistripped Dub showed up at the Garden.
It's a bad night.
With all the fights were delayed. I don't know how she made it. I don't know how she made it.
Damn, so what number is on your uniform?
You keep saying we. I'm 000. I'm 30. I'm 30. Hey, see, this is how it goes, UD. See, the man be bothering me. I be at my home. I don't be bothering nobody. And somehow he finds a way to try to interwork Goat James. Goat James just dropped a trip dub on him in the Garden.
Yeah, but everyone shows
with no beat.
Yeah, I just have
to. They got matchup problems if they got to go against the Knicks.
The Celtics are currently favorites to repeat as NBA champs. According to ESPN Bet, this season the Celtics have struggled at home, have already 10 losses midway through the year, 6 more losses than they had all last regular season. However, they're red hot on the road, 22-6, currently sit at number 2 in the East behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. Are we sleeping on the Celtics? That is the question, Stephen A.
I think so. They're an NBA best 22-6 on the road, just like you said. And they're in second place, so they're hovering right where champions are. They ain't getting caught up in the number 1 seed. They're getting caught up in making sure that they're healthy come postseason time because they know if they are, they can go anywhere and beat anybody.
You, Dave?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think right now they have the number 4 offensive rating. They have the number 5 defensive rating. You're talking about a team right now who sits second in the East. They have a connected locker room. They have guys that have grit. They have great coaching. They have talent. They're healthy. And when you have a combination of all those things, you have the confidence to go anytime, anywhere, and win basketball games. So they're not worried about that number 1 seed right now in the East. They can take care of business on any platform against any team.
Yeah, Cleveland's played well. Cleveland has the best record in the East. But I don't think anybody thinks that Cleveland can potentially beat Boston because every time they play Boston thus far, Boston has beaten them. So I don't think we're speaking on Boston. I think Boston is a really good team.